lives, that's the shit. Because your country is a lot smaller compared to a whole country that's run by a corporation. We know that shit. A lot of us do. You can lie what you want. You know this country is run by corporations. You know that shit. We get what we get. We make money when we can. We make it happen. But in reality, we are all essentially pawns. That's why they can start these wars. That's why they can make this shit. Now diesel and gas is $3.50, $4, $4.50 a gallon. If you got premium, $5, you know what I mean? Who the fuck wants to do that? But your country is completely different because you are operating on a much smaller scale. You can do what? You operate on a much smaller scale.
In this station, I'm not fucking tired. I don't even talk about Australia. Okay.
But California has a higher GDP than you. California has a 4 or 5.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I genuinely don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Inherently, I don't give a fuck about that. I matched it up with different kids. So, like, are you trying to, like, prove to me? I really don't.
What I'm saying is this: you're bragging about a lot of shit, and you can do that shit.
It's not really bragging.
It's not really bragging if you actually did it up women in Australia.
Shit. I actually don't even give a fuck about Australia to think about it. You in question Australia got to break Australia got to offer. I guess I was just being funny. I really don't give a fuck. Y'all are weirdos.
I get it, but you sounded like you did it initially. What I'm saying is that's okay. It's a great thing to have. Honestly, that's a fucking great thing to have. That's what you strive for. That as a country, that's what you strive for. To have that shit.
Whatever.
Just can't compare a country of 27 million to 300 million.
No one did. Literally, no one was trying to compare Australia to America. That literally never happened. You asked a question about what Australia has to offer, and I said the fucking question. At no point did I try to slight her when I answered the fucking question, nor did I try to compare Australia to America. Ibrahim tried that. Tati responded to M's fucking question. I don't give a fuck about comparing Australia. You literally told the wall at trying to bring you up to scratch in terms of like the actual conversation that's happening and was happening before you got here.
Okay, so where's your list? You said quality of life.
Yes.
What are some metrics that you're going to measure?
Well,
greatest
after infant and maternal mortality as part of quality of life for citizens, guess what the next one was, Tati? Healthcare. Access to healthcare.
Okay, checks.
Yes, so I think that was just a write-off, right? When it comes to America, do we even need to?
Yeah, we know it's not. If I was speaking for companies, fucking it's over here. was to be reality.
It's reality for us.
I know. I'm gonna take this because why? Because it's first. They make too much money off of us. Why the fuck would they want to give us a break? Think about that shit. They make so much money off of us. If you pay the premiums, you can't pay whatever it is, they will fucking give us a break. This country runs off of breaking people. It's a fact because everybody wants a piece. Whether it's your mortgage, whether it's your rent, whether it's whatever it is, they all want to maximize their profits on account of everybody else. That's what fucks us up. And that's what we fight each other for no reason.
There's two comments in the chat that actually have both very valid opinions. So one set pointed out that Serena Williams almost died after having a child because no one believed her. So even money doesn't beat America's misogynoir within its medical system. So thank you for pointing that out, said, because that is an important distinction. And actually, yeah, in terms of like having the best healthcare, not access to healthcare, but the best quality and innovation, etc. in terms of healthcare, Singapore is actually the leader. America is not. Singapore has been for the last few years.
No, I just want to debate that. Even Brazilian doctors are Cuban doctors. So what I'm saying that the United States is well done ahead of anyone, including Singapore, when it comes to.
Yeah, no, I knew
technology.
Yeah, I knew what you meant, and that's exactly what I was responding to.
Well,
so anyway, the point was access to healthcare. So we're moving on from healthcare because we know that America's access to healthcare is horrific. So the next one, which ties to business, is also a good one.
What if your access to healthcare is quality?
Excuse me. We're moving on, sir, to the next question. What's my question? The next point is education quality and literacy rates.
America wins education quality.
My favorite topic. All right.
We literally have a record at the head of the Department of Education. At the head of education, we have a wrestler.
That is so funny.
We're gonna have young people in the area.
I'm sorry. Look. You're not gonna speak about Tati like that. Not in my presence. Not now. Not ever.
But that's what area is. These are the top.
No, I'm well aware of that, but my boundary is you're not going to talk about Tati like that. That's the specific boundary, okay? So, yeah, no, you gotta go.
The only thing is this. Look at these. This is who you get.
Tati, we didn't look at stats for access to healthcare, but shall we look at some? Do you want to find some stats measures of education quality and literacy rates?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look at the university system at Kentucky.
We know that there is a literacy crisis, which is happening in many parts of the world. It's not just America that's being hit by the literacy crisis, but it has its own specificities.
Do you know that 9 out of the top 10 poorest states are led by Republicans? You don't know that shit because you're not in America. But a lot of these fucking immigrants keep trying to come up and say that, oh, it's more like you, or these are the dumbest fucking people, and they love Trump. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I have to drive outside to see them.
Yeah, no, these are things that I actually am aware of. A, I just don't care, and B, I'm not talking about that right now. So, yeah. Right now, we are looking at
according to the National Center for Education Statistics, the key findings are 21% of U.S. adults perform at level 1 or below in literacy. This very basic reading skills. 45% of adults are functionally illiterate. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 54 million adults read below the 6th grade level. About 130 million adults read at or below a basic literacy level.
But what are these people more inclined to vote with? If somebody's illiterate and they can't think, or they look for a number, they're more inclined to vote a certain way based on their feelings and ideology, right?
And according to the National Assessment of Adult Literacy, 14% of adults scored below basic literacy and 29% scored quote-unquote basic literacy. In comparison to the rest of the world, we would sit in mid-range. So we're not the worst, but we're not the best. U.S. students scored slightly above the global average in reading and math. We scored below many developed countries. In science, we scored above average, but not top tier. Notable top tier countries would be Finland and Japan. And then we got Canada coming in high, with us being mid-range. Italy is an example of a lower range country. So.
Fascinating.
How do you compare 340 million people to Finland?
Wow.
It's not
So,
right.
Finland has like 5 million people.
Do you know how produces very high income at the top, moderate mobility, but greater inequality than most developed countries. Okay.
Which is true, which means you're gonna be born in it, right? A lot of them are legacy kids.
In comparison to Indonesia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Brazil, this is the ranking. The U.S. comes in first at a high inequality level. Brazil comes in second at very high. Nigeria is moderate. Indonesia is moderate. Pakistan is moderate.
Nigeria could be doing so much more.
Doesn't look good for you, America. Really doesn't. So, income inequality, Jackie, the consensus is?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
Do you think the middle class is gonna be evaporating?
We have our average income levels in comparison to those countries are higher, right? Obviously, but we have a higher inequality. So, money hoarders here.
And that's such a beautiful lead into the next one, Tati, which is cost of living versus wages.
Cost of living? That's just subjective. It
Cost
depends
of
where you live.
living versus wages. So how that's measured in economics is like based on averages.
You can't compare it in a house,
In different tax brackets based on people's,
We
tax
report from the
income.
U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and Census.
Yeah, but if you live in LA, Chicago, New York, Miami, some of these places where DC, where the rents are extremely high compared to if you live in the Midwest, it's a little different. Even though that shit is climbing.
Yeah, so averages on state level versus averages on a federal level, right? Averages.
That shit happened after COVID. That's what
Yeah.
crazy shit after COVID. And they kept like,
And sure did.
Okay, so according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right, the median hourly wage is $23. The median annual wage is $59,000. The median household income is $74,000. The average monthly expenses for a single adult in the U.S., including renting a one-bedroom apartment, utilities, groceries, transportation, and health insurance, the typical monthly cost is $2,800 to $3,900 a month. According to the National Association of Realtors, the median home price in 1990 was $123,000. The median home price in 2000 was $165,000. The median home price in 2024 was $412,000. Median wages did not increase at the same rate. So the rent to income ratio, right? According to the Harvard Joint Center of Housing Studies, about 46% of renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing. About 24% spend more than 50%. These households are considered cost-burden.
what changed? The house didn't change in the
So since 1980, right, the average wages have grown 18%. The housing costs have had 100% increase. College tuition 200 to 300% increase. Healthcare costs 250% increase. That means the cost for essential services grew much faster than wages. So housing is the largest expense. We have supplies, shortages that increase prices. Healthcare, private insurance, increased costs. Education, college tuition rose faster than inflation, and then child care is among the highest costs in developed countries.
And that's why you gotta get in. You have to buy a house. Hopefully a lot of people bought the house early. Because you'd rather fucking pay a mortgage than pay pay somebody $1,800, $2,200, $3,200 a fucking month to pay their mortgage. That's what we're doing in America is fucking own something in this land. Because the things are relentless. So you're going to be paying taxes regardless of where you're at.
So the bottom line is the U.S. economy provides high earning potential with basic living costs, especially housing, healthcare, and education, is still a large share of their income.
So what?
The bottom line is the U.S. economy provides high earning potential, but basic living costs, especially housing, healthcare, and education, is still a large share of that income.
It does because dollars are global currency. So people want to come here to make money. But what does that do? That drives up the price. So basically, what I'm hearing is that in America, if you're a bum, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
Cool, I go with that.
No, I don't personally. Access or lack thereof is a systemic issue. So, being a bum or not doesn't matter. Various factors could still lead to you not accessing the resources that you need at any given moment because somebody else has taken it upon themselves to organise in a way that calls themselves government and is going to be responsible for the development of resources and the distribution of those resources along with the production of them, etc. So, no. Whether you're a bum or not has nothing to do with it. The issue is systemic, cultural, historical.
Is it though? Because I don't know many people who work really hard who are complaining about shit like this.
Yeah, there is, and by the millions actually. So yeah, like the way let's just take healthcare, right? And medical bankruptcy. Someone could work like a fucking dog their whole life, and then they could come up against an unjust, unfair, unequal medical bill that could wipe out all of that hard work and then leave them in a negative position. So, and that is just like the most like basic bitch answer, right? Like the most basic of basic, right? Like step one, healthcare, boom, like how many millions wiped out because of the inequality from the healthcare system? That we didn't even make it on step. We didn't the first one and basic level of healthcare inequality that is, it's just almost not seen anywhere else in the world to that extent. So, yeah, actually, you would have to have less than a pea for a brain if you didn't actually understand what I just said and how very valid and justified it is to understand that it is a systemic issue in every which way. And the system is actually working the way it was designed to work, which is to create a permanent underclass. So there is a permanent ruling class. Again, you would have to have a P as a brain to not know that. So either you have a P for a brain.
So American health. I mean, your example, you brought up something that hardly happens to you brought up something that happens like very rarely to most people that never at all. Which is going medically bankrupt. But that tells me that they
We do have the highest healthcare costs.
I understand that, and I'm not debating your healthcare costs and that there needs to be an overhaul in healthcare. That's fine. But to make a comparison against something that's basically
But why would medical bankruptcy be rare in a country that has the highest healthcare cost?
Medical bankruptcy is rare anywhere. No, they're charging $400 for treatment.
When we were getting $40,000 bills for having a miscarriage, I don't think it's
it's a hospital that's charging as much. You understand that? And then what do you have insurance? They're gonna double your shit. So whatever you pay.
Well, let me ask a question.
Hang on.
Hang on, Joe. Hang on.
It's a job.
Alex, Alex, what is not a lot per year?
What is not a lot per year? What do you mean?
What is hardly any? You say hardly ever happens. So how many?
I'm just saying in comparison to the general population. I don't have the exact number, but I know it's rare. I know it's rare for people.
How rare? How
I don't have an exact number, but I know it's rare.
Well, then what would be considered? What do you consider rare? How many medical
I don't know. I just told you I don't know. But I know it's
So
rare.
so you have no idea.
I don't know the exact number,
So then throw fucking spaghetti at a wall.
but I know it's rare. Because most people do
Pick
not
a
have
fucking number. I'm asking you. Pick a number, Alex.
pick a number. Insurance.
I'm asking you. Yo. Alexander, pick a number.
All right. Let's see. I would say 1 in 250,000.
Give me how many medical bankruptcies you think happen each year.
You don't want per population.
What do you mean?
How the fuck am I supposed to know how many medical bankruptcies?
Please say correct. So how many bankruptcies per year? Then I'm asking. That's my question.
1 out of every 20,000. Because that shit is easy. Nah, I love this country, but goddamn, when the insurance companies is a scam. I pay over $200 every 2 weeks, and the minute I need something, insurance is like a fucking, they hold the umbrella out when it's sunny. But the minute it rains, they pull the fucking umbrella away.
Do you want the answer?
That's
Do you have the answer? Do you have the answer?
Insurance companies.
Yeah, I have the answer.
Okay.
Go.
Alex, what was your number?
It's a 1 in 250,000. What is the number?
One in 250,000, which would be like
It'd be like short, 2,500.
yeah, well less than that per year. Last year was 550,000.
550,000 went bankrupt medically.
Yep.
Wait, 1 out of 550,000?
No, 550,000 Americans.
Yeah, with medical-related bankruptcies due to hospital bills, higher out-of-pocket medical costs, and loss of income due to illness. It says about 66.5% of U.S. bankruptcies involve medical issues.
No, that's true. But that's why Obamacare came.
That's like majority of U.S. bankruptcies.
It was worse. I mean, it's
Hang on, yo, hang on.
I'm just saying, you don't know what it was from.
You thought it was 2,000 per year, and the actual, and that's y'all should. Talking about skewed data, right? Well, that's just like 550,000 per
housing stability.
Do you want to elaborate, Fine?
Yeah, it's a fast-growing economy, and we have a lot of purchasing power, and the policies are related to loans, mortgages are like conducive to purchasing homes and all. So and also usually a home would cost much lesser compared to what it costs in USA. And also, yeah, the cost of living is very low over here since it's a developing country. And yeah, we have a 6.8% GDP growth per year. I mean, yeah, which means like we have a lot of opportunities. It's a huge market. So yeah, so all of these factors, contribute to this housing stability.
Does that count for all Indians in all class, and dare I even say caste?
Yeah, it depends on the area. Yeah. Right now, it is accessible to all castes, and regardless of which caste you are from, you can afford a house right now in India. But then, yeah,
You're on mute.
Okay. Alright.
yeah, like I was saying, there are a few classes which fall below poverty line. They can't afford housing, but governments, they is allotting them places to live and provide them with daily labor, wages, so that they can fend for themselves. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Tati, this one's interesting. I just looked up the numbers.
Yeah. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, using home ownership rate, overall U.S. 65 to 66% on homes. Broken down into race between white, black, and Hispanic. 74% of white people own homes, 45% of blacks own homes, and 51% of Hispanics own homes. Versus home owners. We got homeowners at 66% versus 34% for the renters. When it comes down to cost-burdened households, according to Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies, it shows that 31 to 33% are cost-burdened, meaning they're spending over 50% of their income on, over 30% of their income on housing. There's 15 to 16% that are severely burdened. They're spending over 50% of their income on housing. That represents about 40 million households. There's roughly 3 to 4 million eviction filings annually in the U.S. About 1 million households are formally evicted each year. Homelessness, we got about 650,000 people experiencing homelessness. That represents 0.2% of our population.
So it's 0.2.
Yeah. Let's see. When we're comparing it to Europe and other developing countries, our home ownership rates come in at the top at 65 to 66%, in comparison to Germany coming in second at 50%, UK, France following, Italy, Indonesia, so on and so forth. But the housing cost burden, the cost burden homes that I mentioned earlier, we rank highest in that at 31 to 33%. So we have more homeowners, but we have more cost burden homes as well. And we also have the highest homeless population in comparison to Germany at 260,000, coming in second, following the UK, France, and Brazil.
What was their homeless population in Brazil?
In Brazil, they're at 220,000. visible homeless rates among wealthy nations, largely due to housing costs and limited social housing supply.
Yeah, being a bum in America, have a good time.
Yeah, no. It's definitely just America.
That's true, dude.
That's being a bomb. And Tati, look at this. You said 600 and something thousand homeless. Isn't it interesting that there's 550 something thousand people that have claimed bankruptcy due to their medical bills, and then similar numbers of people also happen to be homeless? Oh my, correlations.
Yeah, which makes it like 6% of the population. 0.6% of the population go medically bankrupt. 0.16%.
Look at that. Definitely.
Where did you get that from?
That's how much her number was. If you do 550K, it's at 340 million. Times 100 to get the percentage. It's 0.16%, which is a little bit less than 0.2%, right? That's touchy.
Like, we're talking about people that are literally being spat out. This doesn't even look at people who are, just hanging on for dear life. Like,
And I'm a fraction of a percent of one.
I wouldn't speak to somebody.
Are we talking bad about America? Or what are we saying?
Yes.
She
infrastructure, but also high housing costs and greater physical homelessness than most wealthy countries.
But you can also have the United States probably are the number one homeowners in any developed country.
Yeah, but we also have the highest number of cost-burdened homes as well. So
That's fine. I mean,
yeah.
still have a house yet.
Yeah.
So some of the stats that I found that I thought was quite interesting was it says there's a shortage of 3 to 6 million homes, which is one of the drivers, right, of the increasing cost, yada yada. Then I thought, I'm interested to see what the vacancy rates are of homes, and it's approximately 15.1 million vacant homes versus 3 to 6 million. So there's also there's a correspondence between those two, because it's the same here in Australia, and how those homes are held and why and from who is a big part of that discussion. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, and that feeds into that lack of social housing. Okay, so the last one in the quality of life for citizens measurement, the last one was social mobility, so the ability to improve life outcomes across generations. So yeah, and so what we've covered is life expectancy, infant and maternal mortality. America, like, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. Access to healthcare, probably one of the worst. Education quality and literacy rates, they sit somewhere in the middle. Income inequality, I think they have, well, what I heard was they have the worst for income equality globally, but at least top 10. Cost of living versus wages, we ain't going that too deeply, but with the income inequality coupled with the housing stability, yeah, you can already see that that's.
The housing is very stable. We did
look at.
America has the best education.
I'm currently doing the roof set. And then we also looked at how much people are earning, what average salaries were, and yeah, so now we're at social mobility. I mean, regardless, even if you would have been like, oh yeah, this little is good, everything else is so atrocious that there is no way quality of life for citizens as a measurement for America could define it as being a great country.
Yeah, right. How about technological innovation? How about your military, actually? How about being able to protect yourself? How about that?
We're talking about America, and we're walking through this list. There's 7 different categories of measurements for quality of life. We're measuring America right now, and right now we're just working through the first category, which is quality of life for citizens, with the data that Tati was sharing. Why is it so hard?
Why is that
compare it to Canada?
Because you're trying to find it by people choosing certain topics.
No, I'm not. I literally put into ChatGPT what are some measures that could be used to define the greatest country in the world, and it's given me a list of 7 different categories. Okay, P-brain.
All based on the same quality of life.
Those are the subcategories of
So we're category 1, so
yeah, so we're in the last bullet of quality of life, which is social mobility.
I see.
Okay.
Someone give me picture cards.
Okay, so we kind of spoke about this earlier, but that Harvard University Opportunity Insights Project, we're pulling from that, and then also the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So from the Harvard Opportunity Insight, it shows that if you are born into the 20%, you have a 7 to 9% chance to reach the top 20. If you're born in the bottom 20%, you have a 7 to 9% chance to reach the top 20%. You have a 40 to 45% chance to reach the middle class, and you have a OECD, about 50% of a parent's income advantage is passed to the next generation. This indicates moderate to high persistence of economic status. But we all know that wouldn't apply to everyone. In comparison to other countries, Denmark ranks the highest with only 2 generations. We're measuring how long it takes for a family in the bottom income group to reach the average income. So in Denmark, it's 2 generations. Canada is 3 generations. Germany is 4 generations. United States is 5 generations. Obviously, there's going to be regional differences. Regional with higher.
The generational rules out of the I'm sorry.
Okay, so the OECD measures how long it takes for a family in the bottom income group to reach average income. So in Denmark, it's 2 generations. In Canada, it's 3 generations. In Germany, it's 4 generations. In the United States, it's 5 generations.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
What is Australia? Just out of curiosity, is it? I haven't seen how that.
It's non-existent. It's an island, by the way.
5 generations is insane.
Insane. That's fucked up. Give the nigga no hope.
Oh, no, how about guys?
I got one side. Most of us are all well into their 4th or 5th generation. Still living in the hood.
In Australia, it's 3 generations.
Wow.
So I think that's similar to Canada.
This is not all accurate, though. I mean,
What is insane about
Okay, hold on. Let me
the lottery is some shit. Comparing small population sizes to big, it's just not.
when I actually don't know everything. When you go to really big, I know everything is in
You don't actually know. It's not.
right? But we actually end up doing comparisons. And Tati, will you tell this loser I'm not seeing his dick? You didn't show me.
Yeah, she didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's wrong with that? Why are you showing? Do what? I'll show mine. It's small. What's wrong with that? I'll tell you the truth. Oh, that shit's small. Wow. What are we saying?
What the fuck was that?
It's not crazy because it's small.
Can I hear it? Hold on.
Sometimes the content writes itself, you know?
Everyone, just take a moment. Look at my PTR really quickly.
Oh my god.
So, summary, basically, chances for the bottom to reach the top 20%, 7 to 9% generations to reach, or how many generations it takes in America to reach average income. We got 5 generations. Whoa, wait, I can see this, huh? Let's see. Oh, this is where I was on regional differences. So regions with higher mobility tend to have strong public schools, less residential segregation, higher employment growth. Areas with higher mobility include parts of the Midwest, the Great Plains, and certain western states. Come on over. We got space.
Yeah.
We definitely got it.
If you want to make some money, come to the Midwest.
Come to Texas.
So, social mobility also a no?
Yeah, I mean, 5 generations is pretty good.
Yeah, crazy.
You got a 79% chance to reach the top if you're born, in poverty. Yeah. Yeah, 2024 is the last one. Let me see.
So it has one of the highest median household incomes globally. Good. Yeah, cost of living versus wages.
So we're getting, okay. Look, there's another one.
But however, median household is, it's like GDP, how much is coming in. But then you look at GDP per capita, obviously like America's one of the worst. It's like 11, okay, great, still not the greatest. And then cost of living.
Per capita, what? You keep saying that. GDP per capita. What is the per capita in that?
Your mom.
Per capita, what?
Your mom.
Are we going now?
Such a good conversation.
Mad. Employment rate.
Are you Sudanese?
Italian and Greek.
So you're Sudanese, okay.
Sure.
You just want to make things up. I mean, we don't go back in our history. We all know what talk about. I just asking.
Okay. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? Employment to population ratio. All adults 16 and over, our employment rate is 60 to 61%. Prime working age, they're divided as 25 to 54. So 80 to 81% are in the prime working age. Obviously, prime age workers have high employment because the group excludes most students and retirees. Our unemployment rate in 2023 was 3.6%, 2024, 3.7 to 4%. That was considered very low unemployment, historically very low unemployment. Obviously, that's changed since then. Labor force participation, we got 62% to 63%. Labor force participation measures the share of adults who are either working or actively looking for work. That may decline after the pandemic, but is partially recovered. The U.S. economy is dominated by service industries. That's 80%. That's 80% share of the jobs. Government coming in at 15%, manufacturing 8%, agriculture 1 or 2%. Employment by education. Obviously, that increases with education. So the employment rate, if you have less than high school diploma, is 45 to 50%. If you have a high school diploma, it's 60 to 65%. If you have a bachelor's degree, it's 75 to 80%. Graduate degree, it's 80 to 85%. The median unemployment duration, so the average time unemployed before finding work is 12 weeks. So yeah, the U.S. labor market currently shows high employment and relatively low unemployment. So,
I wonder, because they do this thing in employment data where they say unemployed people are people that, just strictly don't have a job, but then there's all like underemployed people.
okay.
And they consider like people who are working or don't have job security as employed, whereas technically they're not because they're underemployed, But they do it to skew the data and make it look like there's a really low unemployment rate.
Yeah, okay, so I see here.
Does drug dealers, scammers, entrepreneurs?
So it says about 40% of
Americans are underemployed.
it's recent college grads specifically. All the college graduates that are underemployed is about 33% because of overqualification. It says younger workers experience higher underemployment.
Yeah, cool.
So between ages of 20 and 24, they added 10 to 12%.
Shame on you, America.
You're nuts.
Never.
We're bullies. We'll take the
Why be nice?
Venezuela.
No, why can I be nice when I can be naughty? Okay, this will be an interesting one. Economic mobility.
And we kind of already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Do we want to, we kind of discussed that twice. We talked about
We did.
intergenerational mobility, on the top mobility, generations to rejection. So.
Well, this next one, this is what's supposed to make America great, or at least try and make it great again. Entrepreneurship and innovation.
Are we done with economics?
No, this is economic strength and opportunity. So
Yeah, it's in the same topic, which is subtopic of the same topic.
President talked about international.
These are entrepreneurship.
Economic mobility.
yeah, and the innovation.
Okay.
Nice and no-brainer.
So I'm calling from the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Small Business Administration. International Innovation Rankings. Okay, so the United States is one of the most active entrepreneurial economies globally. Number of businesses. Total businesses, we have 33 million. Small businesses, 32.5 million. Large corporations, 20,000. Small businesses represent about 99.9% of all U.S. businesses. There was a surge after the COVID pandemic. We have a startup ecosystem. According to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, about 17-18% of U.S. adults are involved in early stage entrepreneurial activity. This includes starting a business, owning a young company under 3.5 years old. The United States has the largest startup ecosystem in the world. Venture capital investment, the U.S. leads globally in venture capital funding. In the venture capital investment year 2023, we have 170 billion. 2024 was 180 billion. Major startup hubs include, I guess we all know this, Silicon Valley, New York, Austin, Seattle, Austin. Where we rank, the U.S. ranks among the world's leaders in innovation, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization Global Innovation Index. Switzerland ranks 1, with Sweden coming second, the U.S. coming third. The U.S. consistently ranks near the top due to research universities, venture capital markets, technology firms, intellectual property development. Patent production. According to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, there is 350,000 patents issued annually. The U.S. is one of the largest patent producing countries globally. Entrepreneurship by demographic group. Census data shows entrepreneurship entrepreneurs, minority business owners, and immigrant founders. Immigrants start businesses at higher rates than native-born citizens. Wink, wink. Okay, so the summary is total businesses, we have 33 million. Small business share is 99.9%. Annual new business applications are 5 million. Venture capital investment, 170 billion. Global innovation rank, top 3. Yeah, that one.
Yay! You got a score, America.
Go Scott, go Scott.
I'm decided I'm actually going to score. I'm gonna give a point or 0 out of every single one, or like 0.5, right? Life expectancy, what was that, 0 or 1.5?
0.5. There's places that are better, but we're not the first. We're
And infant and maternal mortality.
we're fucked. There you go.
Yeah. And then the rest of those were fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And now, alright, so GDP and GDP per capita, I'm giving 0.5 because y'all got it for GDP.
You don't have to be one. What are you talking about?
California
has a
0.5. And then median household income, that was 1, wasn't it? Yeah. Employment rates?
Yeah,
No, that was 1.
yeah, we're dealing with employment rates.
Economic stability? No.
No, it's not.
Entrepreneurship and innovation is definitely a 1.
Yeah, we got that.
Alright, now the next one is infrastructure quality.
I think it is too, actually. Okay.
Perhaps, yeah.
I think we got it.
I actually don't have any.
What? The one dollar guys? You're contrary. What?
I want to say something.
America's crumbling infrastructure. Oh,
Can I say something, Moms?
yeah. Yes, sir, you may speak.
Thank you, my Australian friends. If Texas was an independent country, it would outrank Australia. California was in the world. I don't know how. It's crazy.
Can I
Time to Texas, I'm done.
I actually don't. Again, I'm gonna say once more. I know that y'all love to sword fight with each other, right? Y'all love when the tips rub up against each other. I know you do. That's why y'all love a dick swinging contest, right? Who's got the biggest dick? I don't give a fuck about Australia. I don't give a fuck about this country. Okay?
I told you, why am I fighting with another man's sword?
I'm saying that's what y'all love to do in general. But that's
Who
not.
am I fighting with?
I'm saying in general that's what y'all love to do.
Okay.
That's men.
Okay.
Thank you.
I love you too, Mom.
Okay, infrastructure quality in the United States. Pulling from American Society of Civil Engineers Infrastructure Report Card and international comparisons from the World Economic Forum. The American Society of Civil Engineers evaluates U.S. infrastructure every 4 years. The latest national grade is a C-. Ooh. This grade indicates that infrastructure is functional but aging and in need of investment. Moving to road infrastructure, we have road networks are expensive but require repair. Total road miles, 4.2 million. Roads in poor condition, 40%. large-scale tax in Atlanta, Los Angeles International, and O'Hare International. Energy infrastructure. The U.S. has one of the largest energy systems in the world. Sources include natural gas, oil, nuclear, and renewable energy. The U.S. Electricity grid serves over 160 million customers. Water infrastructure. Water system, space age, and infrastructure challenges. There are 240,000 water main breaks per year. And there's millions of miles of pipes older than 50 years, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Broadband and digital infrastructure. There's 92% of households with internet access, so that's great. And then 90% have broadband coverage. However, rural areas sometimes still have limited high-speed connectivity. So our global infrastructure ranking, someone like Singapore and Switzerland are considered top tier. The United States is considered top 15 to 20. It scores highly for air transport, energy systems, and digital networks, but lower for roads, public transit, and aging utilities. So I feel like we could pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
What do you think, Alex? Seriously? Our country?
Yeah, I heard you about infrastructure. That's why I said I'm not confident in this one.
Do you think we deserve half?
No.
25? You think we should get zero?
Yeah.
Okay. Kirko, what do you think?
Yeah, we're talking about Australia, right?
No, America. Okay. I'll go half.
I think it's hard.
3/4.
No. That's not fair. You said zero. Okay.
So that was economic strength and opportunity, how productive and economically dynamic the country is, and that was based on measurements from the International Monetary Fund and World Bank in terms of how they formed those categories. So, possible score. So for quality of life for citizens, possible score was 8, and you got 0.5 out of 8.
Damn.
And for economic strength, you got 3.5 out of 6.
Hey, I'm coming back.
Oh, sorry, it's 4. My bad. It is 4. So yeah, you got 4 out of 6.
Play on my words.
Yeah, that was good. All right. So
I was like, why can't I see the room? And I was on stage and I'm like, oh, Alex.
literally everything.
Oh, she blocked me. I blocked that.
So I'm gonna create a poll. Okay. So welcome, Miss Cleo. We are talking about is America really the greatest country in the world? And because we just had like mentoring us in you, which was like somebody drilling into our ears. I personally decided to look up what define the greatest country in the world. So far, I asked ChatGPT and came up with 7 different categories, and we've gone through 2 so far. The first one was quality of life for citizens. The second one was economic strength and opportunity. Patsy is very graciously finding data when we kind of go through each category and subcategory, and then we're discussing the data, and then we're giving it a score, whether or not we believe that America, genuinely has something going for it in each category and subcategory. So the score is like 0,
country, so speaking on other men's money.
Well, we can
That's
be
a
friendly.
journey I'm about.
We can be friendly, you know.
You must be trolling because you know there's nothing myself a spreading wealth in this country. It's not. This country has never been great.
That's what
Country
you
has never been great ever from its inception. It's been riddled with racism, and this country ain't great. I know y'all gonna hang on to it right now. Ironic is whooping our asses. They're not staying there in the front. We have to go out and find your own news. But we fucked. We are truly fucked. We're not great. We never been great. Get over it.
Have you lived in the box theory?
Little Winfrey.
The box theory, where we have a comfortable area right now. The evilness outside that they don't tell us about, like, they're not going to tell us because us humans, regular humans, we can't comprehend or understand what's really going on right now inside the world. We just did a little bit so much like you said.
I understand exactly what's going on in the outside world. I was not a hooligan.
I just want to come and clear it's become I'll let Alex out for the day. He'll be back.
What makes America good other than the military? I mean, because we have people in this country that's homeless, starving, and sick. If this was truly a good country, there would be no homeless people. There would be no hungry people. There would be no people who are fighting to get health care. This is not a great country.
It's not realistic.
Our education system suffers. That's how stupid the people are out here.
Do you believe in free will? Do you believe in free will?
Interrupt me, please. Be polite. I thought this country is so great. Did your mom teach you that? And it's a great country. I see not. But how is this the greatest educational system in the world? You got people who don't give a shit about the Constitution.
Interrupting again.
Yeah, I agree. I can take that.